A warm welcome back to the Forensic Unplugged channel, guys. Sister channel to the main forensics detailing channel. Today we're doing an update on my weight loss journey. 20 stone and half dead thing. So on March the 10th this year, which is near as damn it 6 months ago, I decided I would try and lose weight, and I brought you in on the journey. 6 months later, I have lost the target amount of weight that I wanted to lose, which was 4 stone, and get into the 15 stone category, which was my initial target. And as of today, I am there as 15 stone, 13 pound and 3/4. I've dipped just under 16 stone. So that's fantastic. So I'm at my target weight. So it's kind of job done. 4 stone, 6 months. So a stone every 6 weeks. It kind of went rapidly at the start, and it was more like a stone a month, but it slows down, I think, as you lose weight. So it's probably takes me about 2 months now to shift to stone, I would imagine. But I've got there. How have I got there? I've got there mainly by, well, really the core of how I've got there is changing my diet. My exercise routine hasn't increased really. I swim periodically, maybe twice a week. I play the odd game of tennis. That hasn't changed. What's changed is my eating habits. So the core strategy of losing weight is to change my eating habits. And the foundational thing of what I've done is my meal in the evening is a high protein, low carb. So I typically, in fact, virtually every day for dinner, I will have a chicken breast sliced up, fried with mushrooms, a little bit of olive oil to fry it in, and then boiled broccoli. That's the core foundation of my diet. Sometimes I'll vary it, and instead of chicken, I'll have turkey, or very rarely, maybe a pork chop, very rarely, in fact, liver sometimes. And you can vary the vegetables. So instead of broccoli, it could be spinach. Instead of mushrooms, it could be a carrot. But again, I very rarely do that. I tend to stick to chicken, broccoli and mushrooms. And I enjoy that kind of core diet. That core evening meal is about 500 calories, I calculated. And it's bulked out a lot with the broccoli and mushrooms, which are not going to hurt you. During the day, I don't have a kind of breakfast. I will usually, start with a coffee, and if I have to eat during the day, which I obviously do, I'll eat a piece of fruit, an apple, raspberries, blueberries. If I'm swimming, I'll have a banana. I will eat walnuts. I will eat beetroot. I'll eat olives. I'll have a slice of cheese. I might have, if there's like a smoked mackerel in a pack, I might have that at lunchtime. And I'll typically try and eat around 500 calories of good food that's not processed food, generally just kind of, olives, nuts, beetroot, fruit and all that sort of stuff. So that's the foundation of it. But cutting out sugar, cake, biscuits, no bread, no rice, no pasta, no crisps, no carbs, no processed food. Typically, once a month I'll have a cheat day where I'll have a fish and chips, or like if I'm on a track day, I'll have a couple of beers and a hamburger or a pizza or whatever. And the cheat days, I think, are just a way of loading back up on some carbs. I don't go mad on a cheat day, but a cheat day might be 2,000 or 3,000 calories, a normal amount of calories. And I think it's just good to recharge your carb pool. And it's something to look forward to as well. So that's worked for me. Other than that, sticking to the diet religiously has been the core foundation of how I've got there. And for some reason, this time, it's the first time I've ever tried to really do it with intent. I've just stuck to it, and I've just not broken. I just won't break. I'll stick to the diet. Why? Because I think within a month of doing it, I sort of saw that first stone come off and thought, wow, it works. It works. So I stuck to it, and the first month was hard. But when you know it works, and it's a case of what you're doing is losing calories, reducing calorie intake, eating healthy, losing weight, and then you've got that end goal target. It's like, well, just keep doing it. So I've just kept doing it. So I'm at just under 16 stone now, 15 stone, 13 pounds, 3/4. Just, if I bounce on the scale, it will go up to 16. I could weigh myself tomorrow and be back at 16. It can fluctuate. So in theory, I'm done. Target achieved. What do I plan to do next? Well, really, I'm about 6 foot tall. And if I went to the doctors and they measured my BMI, they would probably still say at 16 stone, I'm morbidly obese. So because I'm enjoying the diet and because it works, I want to continue beyond what I initially planned. So I'm going to carry on going to get another stone off so that I'm in the 14s, and then I'm definitely stopping at some point where I'm in the 14s. And I think it will be a bit harder to get into the 14s now because a lot of the fat has come off, actually. Definitely, like, it's come off my arms, and it's come off my shoulders, and it's come off my neck and my head, and it's coming off my belly now, and it's coming off all these areas of your body. My pants were always tight, and now they sort of like want to almost fall off. My trousers are too big. This t-shirt, you won't have seen me wearing this t-shirt for the last 5 years because it was so tight on me, I couldn't get it on. Now all my t-shirts are like, this is probably the right size, but most of them are like tenths. So I definitely can feel that the weight's come off, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing. You do feel better for it. But yeah, the plan is to continue and get another stone off. And I think when I get to 14x, whatever 14x is, I will be done, because I think when I was 18, 19, I was 14 stone. And I don't think it would be healthy to carry on going. I don't know how low I could go. I don't think I could get into the 13s. I don't know. But I think 14 would be fantastic, and that would be a wonderful weight. And to get there, it will be taking off the last of it that's on my stomach, sort of still quite a lot of body fat floating around the old belly. So it'd be nice to get rid of that as well. What are the benefits of this? I think you feel different when you go on this diet. You do sometimes feel a bit drained and hungry, obviously, and you have to eat when you're hungry, snack during the day on those bits. But I think you feel better for it. I think my skin feels a little bit better. I don't tend to get all these like rashes, and my eczema's been kind of better, although it does still flare up a little bit on my arms and stuff. A lot of the sort of rashes I would get, like sweat rashes and stuff, seem to have disappeared over the summer. So yeah, it's better. It's good. And I don't think it's that difficult. I've received a ton of good advice from loads of people that have done a similar thing and have got there, and or people that are trying, or people that are thinking of trying, or people that might have started because of what we're doing, which is fantastic. I am not a weight loss expert by any means, but I think this high protein, low carbohydrates, controlled calories it's all about just sticking to it. That's the key thing I think I could say. If you stick to it, you will lose weight. It's that simple. Whether you want to eat a bit more than I do and do 1,500 calories a day or whatever is totally up to you. But whatever plan you put in place, it's that mindset of sticking to it, that once you see the results and you start dropping on the scales, saying it's working, do not break. The other thing is, of course, it's impossible to go through life and have these situations where you might want to go for a meal, or you're out and about and stuff like that. So you have to be ready for that and just say that the diet comes first. You could still go for a meal, but if you do go for a meal, have salad. Don't break your fundamental rule. Don't just unless it's your one cheat day, you know, in which case have a meal, but that's really reasonably sensible. But that's your cheat day done. I think the social side and social engagements can be a cause of breaking your diet. So I think, you know, family meals and stuff like that can. So I think you have to just be prepared to go to meals, and I've done it, and you know, it might be a roast dinner, you know, around a family member's house, and there's a big roast and there's all these meats. And all I'll do is just have a portion of boiled carrots or whatever the veggies are, loads of like spinach or whatever it is, and one slice of like whatever the meat is. And you're sticking to your diet, but you're still going out, and just stick to it. Don't have any dessert and sugar and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, so that's been the journey that I've been on. Yeah, the danger now is, well, for short term, I've just got to carry on with this, you know, and I want to carry on. I'm enjoying carrying on. I don't see it as a burden. I'm just used to this kind of eating like this now. So I think carrying it on till I get into the 14s won't be a problem. As some of you have said, it's what happens when you get there and you come off the diet and you put the weight back on. Well, I'm going to sort of declare a phase 2 once the weight loss mode is finished. Then I declare a phase 2, which is putting in place a structure that maintains my weight. And I've already got some ideas about how to do that. And I think the number one thing for me is just stick with the no bread. You know, don't buy bread and don't have bread during the day. I can do that, you know. You might be out, you might go for a coffee or something and want a croissant. Well, have a croissant. This is phase 2. But don't buy bread because you'll be eating loads of carbs. Don't buy biscuits. Don't buy packets of crisps. Don't have like sugary desserts, those sorts of things. Or if you do have a sugary dessert, just have 1 spoon of ice cream or something, and just as a taster, you know, really change that. Because before my diet, I could have a starter, I could have a main course, I could eat bread with it, I could be drinking pints of lager, and then you get to the end, you're beyond full, and then you just plow down like a massive portion of sugary, lovely dessert, and you've just plonked down like 2,000 or 3,000 calories, and it's not including what you've had throughout the day. So it's very easy to overeat. So phase 2 is how you go about setting a sort of diet, which means you're not going to put the weight back on. The other thing in phase 2 as well is to periodically weigh yourself. I typically weigh myself every morning now. It's just a little routine. But I think set an alarm on your phone for every 2 weeks, weigh yourself and make sure you're in a window. And if you go out of that window of weight, then you drop back down into your window. And you do that for the rest of your life. Yeah, and that's going to be my phase 2, and I'll plan that and I'll put it in place. That's really it, guys. There's been a lot of encouragement in the comments, which is great. The odd comment saying you're not going to lose any weight doing what you're doing. You need to do this. You need to do that. You need to do this. You need to do that. You know, you're not going to get there. I think, with respect, I'm interested in why you think that, but no. That's not true. If you stick to the diet and your diet is a good one where you're not taking in too many calories and it's the right sort of foods, you know, I couldn't take in 1,000 calories of sponge pudding and custard. I don't think that would work. But if it's a high protein, low carbohydrate diet where you're floating at around 1,000 to 1,500 calories, I believe you will lose weight, and you'll do it quite rapidly at first, and then, like I say, it tails off. So I don't think there's anything shocking here. I think this is just a mind game that if you lock in the right, the game plan is easy, isn't it? You don't have to stick to my game plan. You could count calories if you want to, whatever works for you, or you could fast if you want to, whatever. But for me, it's just, the framework was the diet, and the mindset keeps me on track within that framework, and the process works. So yeah, really happy with that, with the whole thing. Actually, I think it's a really good thing. It's a good achievement. It hasn't sunk in yet that I've lost 4 stone, because it's just been a way of life. It's just been a way of life. The camera still makes me look just as fat, so you know, but in real life, yeah, when I look at myself now, I start to notice it, especially in the mirror, and I feel it with the clothes. So it's really nice. Yeah, it's really nice. My shoulder's aching. So if you're overweight and thinking about doing this, I'd go for it. Plan it yourself. As I said before, I don't think you need to spend like a fortune. I don't think you need to do too much research. I certainly didn't. This diet was based on watching my 600-pound journey weight loss, and how the bariatric surgeon, Dr. Now, used to get these very heavy people to lose loads of weight reasonably rapidly. And he could say, you know, you could easily lose this amount of weight. You know, you can lose, you know, in the first month, you can do 10, 15 pounds a month easily. And he's right, yeah, you can. So they would do the diet and they'd go in and weigh the scales, and then you'd see the guys that were doing it, and then you see the ones that thought they were doing it but were sort of tricking themselves almost, and they weren't following the plan. And they were saying, oh, I don't know how it's possible, I'm not eating. But they were. If you don't eat, you know, if you follow the game plan, the weight comes off. And I figured the foods that I'm eating are pretty good. Is it deficient in anything? Well, it's deficient in carbs, isn't it? So I think that's why the cheat day is good. It just loads up your carb pool again. You feel a bit better for that. You do notice if you eat carbs, it bloats you out a lot when you don't eat them. You notice when you have a high protein, low carb diet, that your digestive system, you know what I'm talking about, you know, the old poo-poos are different. They're like the old bullets. You know, you notice that. But yeah, just generally, I think it's a really good thing to do, and I think you should try it. And I think if you're like me, once you see that first month and you drop a stone in a month, you'll be like, wow, yeah, it's not that bad actually. I can do this, and then you just stick with it. And before you know it, like, it doesn't seem like yesterday I started this on the 10th of March. You know, I remember talking about it on the channel. We started it, we're 6 months later down the line, and we've done what we said we would do. And I'm very bad at that. You know, I'm very bad. I think probably at some point in my mid-30s, I stopped caring about weight. I stopped caring about appearance. I stopped caring about all that stuff as you get a bit older. And yeah, and I think perhaps you need to care, really. You need to care a little bit. So when I do get to target weight and I get some money, I will go and do a bit of clothes shopping and try and not dress like a tramp a little bit. I might even have a shave. And just try and enjoy having a little bit less weight to carry around all the time. And I notice it when I go up the stairs. Now I like fly up the stairs. My ankles aren't swollen in the summer. I always get swollen hands. So I went for a walk in the summer, like previously, like, you know, with all the weight, my ankles would swell up, my hands would swell up. And, you know, it was because your body's having to carry all that around, and the strain on your kind of heart. Yeah, I feel better in that sense. Yeah. So there you go, guys. Hope that one. No, I'm not going to say I hope you enjoyed that. It's just this is a kind of selfish video, isn't it? It's I've done it, you know, but it was a real positive vibe, and I think actually us blokes are kind of quite supportive with all this sort of stuff, isn't it? And we all kind of, so many of us have to go through this, and you know, go through this kind of process of trying to lose weight. It's a very common thing. So there's a lot of really good supportive comments. I really appreciate it. And yeah, so I am now going to be, I am in here, I've been in here for hours. This is supposed to be the easy bit. If you've been following the Unplugged channel, I've been trying to document some of this. So I'm at the home straight of getting this roof on. And I've just been having problems with that edge fits like a glove. This edge I'm happy with here now. I've had to just beat on that panel a little bit and file it a little bit and file under here a little bit, just to try and get it lower, because you can see it sitting up, but that's as tight as it's going to get without you breaking this. It really is. That's as tight as it's going to get. And then this is the hardest panel to align. And I've been beating the hell out of this and sanding underneath this and filing metal to try and get this to sit flush. And again, it's sitting flush over here. And as we come along, more and more of this is contacting with that rim, with that seal, that panel line. And that is about as low as you can get it. It really is. It really is as low as you can get that. It does sit now tight on this so that when I rivet it all in, I think we'll be good. The only thing I'm concerned about is the height of that away from this for when the glass goes in. It might catch there. But if so, I'll probably just Dremel with a little buzz, little circular saw, and Dremel across that, because as we come across, it sits lower. So even if need be, I could Dremel across there and Dremel out there just to get rid of that. I don't know if I heat that up. It feels hard, this, because it's obviously Kevlar and carbon fibre all in resin. I don't know if I get some heat in that and then I rivet there, I could pull it down, but I suspect I'll crack it if I try to do that. And I suspect it'd be easier to remove it. I'll never get that to sit flush. It just won't. That's as good as it's going to get. That really is. So I'm going to re-prime as well. But that's fine. As long as when I go round it like this and I push down, I'm tight on that seal. I'm tight on that edge there. I'm tight there, tight there, tight there. I'm tight there. As long as it's tight all the way around, I'll be good. Anyway, this was about weight loss. This is about weight loss too. So there we go. I'll see you soon. Don't forget to subscribe and take care.